The opinions and viewpoints shared in the content of Laramie 24/7 Inc.'s public access television channel are solely those of the individuals expressing them and do not necessarily represent the stance or opinions of Laramie 24/7 Inc. as a whole.
So I want to thank you very much for coming to Laramie and sharing your story with us, and I look forward to you telling us more and about all the exciting things you have coming up in the future too.
Okay.
So one little footnote, Pam will tell her story. Her and I will banter back and forth for a little bit as I get inspired to ask her some questions, and then we'll open it up to the room for questions. So I hope you're all ready and thinking about those great questions. So Pam, take it away.
First, I just want to tell you, it was only a plan to go on CNN, and that took me a week. They were on the plane coming, and I said, I can't do this. So if you ever told me I'd be sitting here talking to you doing this, not me. I'm not a speaker, and I don't enjoy it at all. I get nervous, and I've worked as an alcohol and drug counselor, and I do well in like a circle group, but just bear with me. And I thought this kind of puts everything, sums up what happened, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. So from it, though, I hope you have some good questions. Don't be afraid about the hard questions. I love them. The ones that you don't want to ask because they need to be asked. No, that's fine.
You might be able to hear a little better if we all moved up some, but can you try to speak into the mic a little bit closer, Pam? I know it's kind of challenging to read and speak at the same time.
Yeah, okay. Well, I got to be able to see too.
True.
Let's try this, okay? Let's see. Okay. Well, this Dream for America, I've been changing this for whoever the audience I'm with. So, but I'll just say thank you for having me here. I would like to share with you my January 6th story, how I was drawn into Maga cult, how I got out and where I am now. My name is Pam Hemphill. I'm a mother and a grandmother, a retired substance abuse counselor, a recovering alcoholic. Next month, I'll have 46 years of recovery. And a cancer survivor. After I retired, I began videotaping and documenting political events for local right-wing groups in Idaho. I was bored. Had to find something to do. When I attended these rallies and protests, I felt like I was part of the community that truly cared about our country and the Constitution. Looking back, I realized most of what I was being told was propaganda. Things like, the left is trying to turn this into a communist country, or the Democrats are always trying to steal elections. This disinformation caused a lot of fear. And that fear kept me engaged because I believed we were protecting the Constitution and saving the nation, not realizing I was being deceived. On January 6, 2021, I was in the crowd that entered the Capitol from the east side. I was charged with my participation in that day. I pleaded guilty because I was guilty. I served 60 days in Dublin Federal Prison, California. To be clear, I was not a victim of the government, and the Department of Justice was not weaponized against me. I was a participant. I broke the law. I believe the Capitol Police and the D.C. police officers deserve our respect for their courageous actions that day. The mob when the mob stormed up the steps, I was knocked down and injured. And they likely saved my life that day. I want them to know how truly grateful I am for them protecting the Capitol. I always get a little emotional, but
okay, take your time.
Still have PTSD from this. How deeply sorry I am for my participation. They deserve our gratitude and acknowledgement for their sacrifices and the scars they still carry to this day. And we could never forget the fallen heroes who lost their lives. 4 of them committed suicide. 7 months after I was released from prison, I realized my trust in the Maga movement had been misplaced. The web of lies about January 6th that had been built around me did not suddenly come crashing down like a house of cards. Rather, they fell like dominoes, one by one. With the help of others and my critical thinking restored, I learned, and I'm getting nervous.
You're doing fine.
Just breathe.
Exactly true.
The Capitol was not open to the public. The Capitol Police did not open the doors to usher in the crowd. The Speaker of the House does not control the D.C. National Guard. The Capitol Police did not start any violence, and other J6ers were not denied due process, so on and so on. I'm now trying to do my part to contribute to the collective healing that our nation so desperately needs, both by sharing how I was drawn into Maga and then how I got out, and also by confronting the constant gaslighting perpetrated by those who refuse to accept responsibility and for their roles in the events of that dark day, whether by directly participating or facilitating its inception. As I mentioned, I'm a person in recovery whose program involves making amends, which means more than just words or simple apologies. It takes action that demonstrates a new way of life. It requires aligning our actions to our values by omitting wrongdoing, making direct amends wherever possible, and then living by these principles: honesty, integrity, humility, compassion, and courage. For over 2 years now, I've been attempting to make amends for January 6th and to confront other J6ers with the facts. It's been hard. Sadly, too many of them twist or refuse to accept. They have found it easier or more advantageous to play the victim, pretending that they were political prisoners, than to take responsibility and accept the consequences of their actions. This year, with the opportunity to accept a presidential pardon for January 6th arose, I felt I had a moral obligation to refuse. Accepting a pardon would have been a slap in the face to the Capitol Police, to the rule of law, and to the nation. Furthermore, it would have enforced the false narratives that I've been fighting so hard to dispel, and would only have served those who continue to gaslight and lie to protect their own interests. I believe there are other J6ers like me out there who see how disinformation is hurting our country. I hope they will join me in pushing back against the lies. We need a few more courageous Republicans who are willing to admit when they are wrong and to stand up to Donald Trump and his administration. Since the last election, the danger to our democracy has dramatically increased. The constant gaslighting, the propaganda that continue to fan the flames of grievance and hate and anger, as many of our fellow Americans and immigrants and Democrats, such as the President Biden and Obama, and our agencies and our federal government must be stopped. If we are true patriots who love this country, we must speak up and speak out with facts. Especially Republican elected officials who claim to demand facts and evidence, but refuse to operate in a fact-based reality. I have learned so much in my journey since January 6th, and I continue to learn. I am grateful for the opportunity to share my experience with you. I am hoping everyone will work together to build a more perfect union but let us build it on a foundation of facts. If we can do that, we can help our country heal. In conclusion, Thomas Jefferson once said, "We do not have a government by the minority. We have a government by the minority who participate." Thank you.
You might find it easier now that you've read your speech there to pull the mic out and make it a little easier to talk into. So I want to thank you for sharing that story with us. A couple of things that I want to mention. Did you happen to bring the letter from Mike Pence?
I did. Right there.
Just recently, Pam received a letter from former Vice President Mike Pence congratulating her on her integrity for not accepting the pardon and actually owning up to the mistakes that she made and accepting the punishment that she received. And yes, here we go. Sarah said such letter. So I want to commend you on standing up and doing the right thing. My accolades don't compare to Mike Pence, but he's proud of you, we're proud of you, and I appreciate the fight that you're doing, getting the word out there. One of the little things, and I don't want to dominate or take anybody else's question away, but when I first saw you back in March, I believe is when you did the Minority and Allies Caucus, one of the things that I took away from listening to your story was, and you briefly touched on it, that sense of community that the MAGA environment created. And we have a sense of community here right now. The Democrats are a community. The citizens of Laramie, I mean, everybody wants to be part of a community, and I think that is one of the main attractions. I don't understand how the lies get permeated like they do and the people fall for that, and hopefully you'll get some questions and you can address that. But I would think that what brings most people in is that sense of community. Would that be correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of it.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add? The college tour thing that you're going to be doing coming up? I believe you did that with Malcolm Kenyatta and Jamie Raskin. Didn't you record a video that's going to be played all over school campuses?
That was going to be Dream for America. What's happening is they're pushing back on, where is my Michael? I always ask him to help me sometimes, but Kurt, what's his name? He's Republican, of course. He's crazy. The Gen Z. Huh?
From Turning Point? Is that what we're talking?
Turning Point.
Okay.
So Dream for America is pushing back on them, and they're getting bigger. And they have put together about 20 of us, I think, to speak, mainly like representatives and a governor and a whole bunch of different people. You can go on their website. It's Dream for America. And they're going to have their little talk, and you can listen to all of them. And Jamie Raskin? Yeah, I never said
Jamie Raskin?
Yeah. God bless him. He mentioned me twice, a couple of times.
And then I believe Malcolm Kenyatta, Vice Chair of the DNC, was involved.
Yeah.
So you are getting noticed by some very smart people, and I like that they're actually doing a program or a video that's going to go, we are a college town, so to have some kind of pushback on a college campus, because what was it, about a month and a half ago, we had that guy from Turning Point actually come to Laramie.
And what's his last name? I got him.
There you go, thank you, yes.
That's it.
It's a name I try to forget, as we all do. So yeah, it's nice that there are some organizations popping up to respond back to that misinformation. Got any other future events or meetings with the media? I think the British guy, he's coming over and talking with you on Tuesday, or you're Zooming with him?
Yeah, from London. I've had Japan come from Japan. I think Mike would have to help me, Michael. To see Australia. Yeah. And I keep telling him, well, I'm done. After this today, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. You need to there's a part of the story I have to share with you. It's great, yeah, all the countries have been asking me to speak to them. How is it that anybody could be voting for Trump? And that's hard to explain. But it has not been easy. I have been having to fight both sides. Really, very. A Democrat Party had asked me in my state to come and talk. The next day, they canceled me. 5150, that you could come, but we really don't want you speaking. I mean, I've had a lot of the rumors and the smear campaign, and oh my God, it's bad. They didn't call you?
No, they didn't call me. Not yet. I'm waiting, though. I'll have an appropriate response, I assure you.
Oh, it's horrifying. I mean, even Ammon Kissinger has gotten involved a little bit. Because, you know, they're reaching out. They've been doing it for 2 years, and it's their job to make sure you find out that I'm lying. And all kinds of things. Right now with Proud Boys, Tario, and it's already out that I'm a pedophile. I mean, it's getting bad. You know, I'm make sure you tell people I'm getting paid. I'm not getting paid, right? Say that.
Pam volunteered to come to Laramie. We will be giving her some money for gas. So I do appreciate that. And one thing, the Democratic Party, even though I'm the chair of the Albany County Dems, and I forgot to mention this event was sponsored by the Albany County Dems at the beginning, all of the county parties in Wyoming, and I assume around the nation, all the executive committees, central committees, none of us get paid. I don't get paid. Joan up in Natrona that you just spent time with, she doesn't get paid. We all do it because we love our community, and we want to make things better. And we appreciate that you take the time out of your life. You had mentioned about being in recovery. You also mentioned about having cancer. I believe you're still having some treatments for that, which is probably why the soft voice and the emotional aspect. And what you've been through, I can see, is very emotional. And you did do your time, I just want to say. And I had this conversation with Courtney, the chair of the Minority and Allies Caucus, earlier, because you made a point out of saying over and over, I'm sorry for what I did. You know, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have. You learned from what happened to you, and you did your time. And that's how the justice system in America works. If you're found guilty, you do your time, and then you start your life over. And so you got out of jail, and I think this is one of the most amazing things about your story. You got out of jail still believing what put you in jail in the first place. And then through conversations and having people present the facts to you, and credit to you for doing the research and digging into what the facts were. They had that epiphany where you started to peel back the layers of misinformation. And I think you might have got a little bit upset about being deceived, and that got you into being this activist. And then you started with CNN, and then one thing led to another, and look, you're in Laramie now. Who knows where we'll see you next, maybe over in London. But anyhow, I appreciate you letting me ramble and ask you some questions. I think we'll probably open it up to the audience unless you have anything else you'd like to add.
Well, yeah, I'd like to explain just a little bit more.
Okay.
It's not like I had a white light and said, oh my God, I've been lied to. What had happened, Ryan Samsel, he's the one that Ray Epps whispered in his ear. He was the first to breach the Capitol and push on the barriers and knock down a female officer, and she got serious head injuries. He was in jail, and Gateway Pundit put out an article that he was beat up and lost his whole eye. And I thought, that's not okay. I had started the first J6 space for all the criminals to come in, and we were going to talk and be a victim. So, but when that happened, I thought, I got to research this. This is not okay to be in human rights inside of a prison, no matter who he is. Come to find out it was a lie. And I went back to tell Maga, and they got mad at me, and I found out something else, and they got mad at me, and I had receipts. It's not like they couldn't check my resources. They didn't want to know that he was lying. But his gifts and go went up to $40,000 that day. God. So I started seeing this. They're grifting. They're making money off of being a victim. And one thing led to another, and so they kicked me out, and I started my own J6 gaslighting space. And what happened, sedition hunters, real researchers, and all the Democrats started coming in and curious, like, here's this J6er wanting to calling Trump a cult leader, dangerous narcissist, started giving me all kinds of information. But I'm listening to them and I'm thinking, you both sound similar. That the Republicans are doing the same, you know, trying to make it fascist, and the Democrats are trying to make it communist. And what is going on here? Because I'd never been around Democrats. See, I raised Republican in my family, but the difference, and this is what got me, you would not let us bring up something without a receipt. Where'd you hear that from? Let me see the link. Prove that to me. You wouldn't let this lies go at all. And I thought, whoa, maybe, because I've been so lied to. I couldn't trust anybody anymore. I wouldn't trust even the Democrats. What if they're making up something? What if they're covering this guy and he's a crook? You know, I don't know you. And that's been the mistake. For me, boy, it was like, wow, where have I been? I should have been a Democrat my whole life. These are the people that love people like I love people. You know, my sponsor was a beautiful black lady. I've been raised in a 12-step program where all are welcome. We don't have biases, or no matter if you're rich or poor or whatever. In our program, you know, we're all the same. And that's Democrats. It was just amazing. I don't know how to explain it. It was like, oh my God, I found my people. I don't mean to say it that way, but such loving, good, caring, and hold you to the fire. That's what I liked. I knew that if you had somebody even close to like Trump, you would have got him out right away. Right away. You would not allow it, no matter how much you liked him. You don't let that get in the middle here. No, he's a crook, or he's this, and we're not going to bring him in our party, you know. And I really appreciate that. I mean, I really do, because it's time to get honest and, you know, and push back whether we like it or not. You know how many times we've had to hurt my feelings. You know, you got to hurt their feelings a little bit. I have this little saying, kind of goes like this. I've had to stop being nice. Now, I know when you hear that, you go, well, we gotta be nice, we need to be polite. So hear me out. Give me a minute. What I mean is I've decided I'm not going to be nice. I've been nice, and I am nice. But I'm not going to be mean either. I'm not going to be aggressive either. I'm going to be assertive. With the backbone of a bear, the voice of a lion, and the eyes of a tiger. You know that mama bear? You know, with facts. Sorry, dear, you're lying. The doors were not open for you. The officers, and I've got receipts to show you. You know, I'm not letting you lie. There's the good cop and the bad cop. I'm the bad cop. Stephen Hansen wrote a book, The Cult of Trump. He's the good cop, and he's got great information how to approach Maga. But see, because I was Maga and because of January 6th, I can't be the good cop. And they don't hear you. They really don't. And I know so many people say, what do I do about my family? My family are Maga, and they won't talk to me. And I've tried to approach them this way. I've tried to do, you know, me and my brother had to just decide, no politic talking, because we love each other. He's just celebrated 50 years of recovery. Good man. He's not Maga, though. Just Republican. But still, it's not that easy. For me, I am hated so much by Maga, and I'm so glad. You know, I've got them after me. But I guess what I'm trying to just say is, let your voice out. You know, be assertive in a strong way. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Because I'm talking to some of these Democrats, and, but we got to approach them and just, no. They're not going to hear you. No, You hear the saying, we're putting our foot down? Have you ever done that with your children? You make up some rules for your children, and some of them you decide that you can break because it's age appropriate. Maybe now it's kind of ridiculous to keep hanging on to that rule. And that's what we need to do with the Maga. We're not going to let our boundaries be stepped on anymore. You cannot lie to me and give me all this fake propaganda, because I'm going to confront you with it. I'm sick of you putting out stuff that's destroying this country. I'm going to tell you you're destroying it. I just confronted Mike Johnson on a tweet today. You know, he's saying, well, the Democrats may have, you hear the words they use, may have doctored the Epstein files. Oh, really? So what are you putting out there? May have that. I go, oh, yeah, they may have, knowing the Democrats, yeah, make it right, they probably did doctor those. No, I had to confront him in his language, because he's Christian. They shall not bear false witness. You put it in front of them, their language, where they are, their level, because not everybody's Christian in Maga, but you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm making sense, but anyway, that's all I wanted to share.
One second. Then we'll get to questions. Barb, do you want to, when we get to questions, do you have an extra mic, or would you need one of these? Okay. Just to follow up with what Pam said, I personally get annoyed with the way stuff gets phrased sometimes. Misinformation, it's not the whole truth. I think we just need to call it what it is. When they lie, let's say that they're lying. Let's say that they're lying again. Here's some more lies. And that just needs to be put on blast. And I was actually on a Zoom meeting with the Contest Every Race group that the Albany County Dems belong to, and I was talking about that. And it is tough. I did get some pushback when I was saying that we need to stand up for what we believe in, we need to tell the truth, we need to have the facts, and we need to call them out when they lie. And some people, I believe one of the persons on the Zoom was from North Carolina, and they were talking about fear and how they're afraid in their community to go out and say things because of the pushback that they get from Republicans. I wouldn't even I know a lot of Republicans. I have a business. I got a lot of Republican customers. The majority of them are fine. The MAGA crazies, they're the ones that are getting all of the news coverage. They're the ones that are controlling the narrative. And those are the ones that we got to push back against. And we got to just call out the lies. Mike Johnson, I find it amazing that he calls himself a Christian. I don't believe Christian nationalists are either Christian. I do believe they're nationalists in a bad way, though. I have a big mouth, and I can get away with saying a lot of things. And I kind of look like, if you piss me off, I'm going to hit you. So I think I can say things that other people can't. But if you're out in your community, and especially as the election season's coming up, and if you have the good fortune of going door to door to meet your neighbors, don't go by yourself. Take somebody with you. And as the county chair, I'm going to make sure that that's in our training, and that's going to be what we're going to do going forward next year. Having said all of that, I know some relatives are going to be hard to convince, but I don't think that means you should stop being who you are and stop pushing back. I tease my Republican friends, and I bring up little points, and I say, you know, you're going to come out of the dark eventually and come towards, I like to use the Star Wars reference, you know, come to the light, come to the good side of the force. You know, have fun with them, banter back and forth with them. But you got to keep telling the truth and putting that out there. And with you telling your story, you know, it has to start with somebody. And maybe somebody else, MAGA, will start questioning what their beliefs are, and that'll have that trickle-down effect. That's what I hope comes out of all of your CNN, MSNBC, the meetings up in Casper, down here, the videos that you're putting together, your report with the gentleman from England that's coming over, is that that narrative gets out there, that there is a way out, there is redemption, there is, in reference to what I just said, there is light, there is goodness in the world, and you can be part of that community. So thank you for letting me ramble. Those of you that know me and come to this place frequently know I can be loquacious. Thank you, Clifford, for teaching me a new word this year. So now we will open it up to questions, and I will give my mic to Barb, and I will let Barb Marav looks like she has a question, then Ginny. So we'll start there.
Okay.
Pam, thanks for coming here. Really appreciate it. I would like you to imagine the room is full of hardcore Republicans, all of us. We are not Democrats, we are Republicans. Talk to us. Tell us how to change our minds. What do we need to do to live the cult? It's easy to talk to Democrats once you figure things out. Talk to us as if we were Republicans. Tell us what we need to do.
Whoa. Well, let's get honest. You know, I have to use a personal experience. As a person in recovery and going in and out and in and out, people would come to me and they'd say, "You're just not ready." They'd say things that I did not want to hear. And I thought, I'm never talking to these people again. Ever. But those are the ones that when I was ready, August 10th, 1979, I came and talked to them. And I know in your history and your character, your ethics, it's there. You want to be honest. You want to tell the truth. You're putting all this fear of Trump ahead of everything else. For what? You think all this money and that you're going to get you elected is going to do it. No, you're forgetting that it's the vote that gets you in the office, not the money and what Trump is promising to do to help you get into office. But it's something I really need to practice thinking about, because what do you say to them? Get honest. Where's your ethics? What happened to your soul? You're out there approving all this disinformation for what? What's behind all this? Is it your ideology? Because you want this to be an all-white Christian nation? You know, I don't get it. What happened to the Constitution? You're always talking about the forefathers. The forefathers were the ones that said, hey, if your God had rules and my God had rules, we would have a war. So you come up with freedom of religion. You talked about freedom of speech, but then you want to shut us up. Trump just said today, he wants to get the license taken away from media. I don't know, I have to think about this, but I would be yelling at him, I'm for sure, I think so. Kind of confront them with some facts and have it ready in front of me for what they're doing out there. I don't know if that helped.
Pam, thank you for coming to talk to us. You seem like a good, decent, ordinary American. Is that a fair assessment? I'm curious about what compelled. I imagine it took an enormous amount of resources and planning to get to Washington on January 6, 2021. And I'm just curious about the things you had to do to get there, and why you made that what would seem to me a pretty Herculean effort to go from Idaho to Washington, D.C. on that particular day.
Yes. See, I've been spending time videotaping. I was bored. I was out there in Boise, Idaho, because there was only one news station at that time. I became the news. I was on Facebook Live all the time. They asked me to come out, the Maga girls. This will lead up to your question. But you need a little background. And I thought, yeah, I'd go out there. I've been doing TV shows trying to help heroin addicts. At that time, there was called the big, huge United States was talking about the Fed Up, because all the heroin overdoses. So I was doing that, and they heard about it. So I came out to videotape and interview people for them. And I started asking them questions, but with Maga, they would always come back with, whatever you do, don't listen to that station. Don't read that article. You know, constantly, never telling me why. But I had come from a world of no politics, not even caring about politics. I had spent 28 years researching addictions to help gamblers, addicts, you name the addiction, to help people get off their addiction. And all this was new to me. I remember, I think I flunked history and tried political science, so I wasn't even interested in politics. Humans and human behavior and learning to love yourself, that kind of stuff. But I ran into Ammon Bundy. Are you familiar with Ammon Bundy? Well, there goes the fact that you don't do your research, right? So I go to his first meeting, and here he is, a nice man, talking about the Constitution, and I don't know the Constitution, and this is the average person. They're coming home, they're watching Fox News, and they got 2 kids, and they got to get dinner ready, and they're just listening. They don't know anything, and that was me. My brother said, do you know who he is? You better look him up. But I said, Mike, he's a really nice guy, and he's standing up for the Constitution because he's saying that Democrats want to turn this into a communist country. Anyway, I'm laughing now because I was so accountable. But he started the People's Rights, and I followed him for 2 years, and I started seeing it. I have a video that shows you what happened at the end with me and them. But I'm in the Capitol, and he grabs my phone, goes up front, and saying, you can call yourself a citizen journalist. You don't need permission from the Capitol to sit up front, you know where the news people are? Well, you do have to have permission. You have to have a pass and be media. But he said, that's not true in our Constitution. So he did that, and it was like, wait, this looks like he's breaking the law to me. But he's saying that they're not allowing us to act on the Constitution. So it was confusing to me. It was, what is the government making up all these crazy rules, you know? Fast forward, okay, I am skipping your question, I think. Oh, so I was with Bundy for 2 years, and they went to St. Luke's Hospital without mask, and I was totally against that. I yelled at them, they yelled back, I got them out, started yelling at them, and the police were there, and they started saying, oh, you're a Fed, you've always been a Fed. We knew something was wrong with you. I said, yeah. When you're trying to stand up for your rights when you're stepping on others' rights. You don't go in a hospital emergency room without a mask. Oh my God, I just lost it. So if you ever want to see the video, because boy, they're yelling at me. So they already determined I was just a plant, that I was a Fed. Give me a break. But my brother calls me. I had, he found out, diagnosed me with breast cancer. I'd had surgery. And he says, look, you've been out there videotaping. How would you feel about going to Washington, D.C. and seeing Trump? And I said, oh, that would be exciting. Plus, I could stay there 2 or 3 days. I could see the Lincoln Memorial, you know, enjoy myself. Because, see, Republicans leave the Capitol cleaner than when they got there, right? Well, that's what you're told. Did you see the Capitol after they left? It was horrifying, horrifying. So it was going to be safe. I saw, especially having surgery, and my brother would never put me in harm's way. Like many of us, we didn't know this was going to happen. It was planned by Trump, you know, and Steve Bannon and all, you know, all the people. They planned this. Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, it was planned. And I was there with a lot of people. It's like they didn't know they were going to start pushing barriers. Now, I'm not talking about the other side. I'm not on that side where they show the violence so much. Not to minimize my side. It was bad. But a psychiatrist explained to me about when you're in a crowd like that, you're not thinking it's a fight or flight. You're just going with everybody, and you get caught up in it. That's true to a point. Because my therapist, one reason I got out that helped me is when my Dr. Rice said, Pam, I'm hearing a little victimhood. You're saying you wouldn't have pushed barriers. That's true. You wouldn't have hurt an officer. That's true. But you keep saying that. Sounds like you're a victim. You could have left. You could have got out of there, and you didn't. You stayed. And I said, Dr. Rice, but. So he confronted me. I left. I said, I'm going back to see Dr. Rice anymore. And I got home that night and prayed and cried. And he said, he's right. Everybody that tells me what I do not want to hear, I can't wait to go back to you. And that's why we confront Maga, because they need to hear the truth, the facts, whether they like it or not. Because they will come back to you. Maga will come back to you because you're putting facts and truth. That is your love. You love them enough to save their life and give them truths. And you're able to tell them, too, I've made mistakes and I was wrong when I voted for that bill. I see now that it probably wasn't the greatest thing, but however, you're going the wrong way. And later they'll thank you. See, my feeling is we need Republicans and Democrats to have a country. We're just trying to work on Maga because they're the big problem. But I hope that answered your question. My brother, it was my Christmas present because I was going to start chemotherapy in 2 weeks. And I knew that I would never be able to get out. So I'm sorry, I get long-winded. Because there's so many pieces that I want you to know about that I could easily forget to tell you.
Hi, Pam. I'm a science nerd, like super nerd, and I like facts more than most anybody. I'm sorry. So I like facts more than most, but
Yeah, my boyfriend's a math teacher.
yeah,
Yeah,
I have found that in the MAGA bubble, bringing bags and bags of facts has been not helpful. It's just been denied flat out. Do you believe that there's some sort of inroad that we can even begin conversations with somebody who's entrenched in the MAGA cult?
See, I don't get as much opportunity that you may be able to get with Maga because they hate me. In Idaho, oh my God. But it sticks with you. Facts, truth, whatever you want to call it, stays. I can't go away after you've told me something and go, I can't. I go into denial. I do, as a Maga. And well, that guy, what does he know, And I'm huffy, and because that ego and that pride to look at themselves, was it Herbert Spencer? What leaves a man in everlasting ignorance is contempt prior to investigation. So ask them if they're willing to just a little bit of open mind. Check this out. Have something ready. Have 3 things on a piece of paper. Go to this website. Read it. Come back and tell me what you think. Is this all BS, or is there anything you think could be true to it? That has worked a couple of times with some people I know. And they came back to me and said, oh, well, Pam, I'm glad I did learn that. And they liked who the journalist was, or whatever the link was. If I could change somebody, I would be so wealthy. I do not have a magic wand, but I'm going to stick with what I feel is you need to hear. Does that make sense? Stay with everybody's different. How you approach somebody isn't going to be the way I'm going to approach them. You have your way. I have my way. Stay with it, though, whatever that is. Does that make sense? Stay with your science. Let them get mad and walk away. But see, with children, they're going to get mad at you when you say something to them and give them facts, right? And yell at you and walk away. So you have to have some rules, and they're going to like you, to make sure they're safe. So that's why we have the laws. Because it's like Maga's going to go in a closet and kind of just put them in the basement for a while. We're taking care of you. We love you enough to, we're going to do what's right for you. And I know you don't agree with us, and you think we're against you, but we're not. We care enough about you, just like our children, that we'll do what you don't like because we care about you. Does that make sense? They're not going to like it, and they don't have to like it. And they're going to argue because they've called Trump their daddy, and they're afraid to find out that he may be a pedo, right? I don't know. I would encourage you to keep it out, but we'd have to talk more on a one-to-one.
Thank you, Pam, for being here and for sharing your powerful story. Really, really important. I'm fascinated to hear your story. You've lived what I've been trying to figure out for a long time, and that is, how do we get here? How do we get this man in office, and how do we get MAGA that's so blind to the facts that they're impervious to facts. How did we get here? How did this happen? I've been thinking about this a lot and studying a lot, but you don't know me. I'm also a member of the state legislature, so I deal with these folks every day. So I've been studying it, and it seems to me that one of the most base impulses in society is to belong. You want to have a tribe around you. And there's good tribes and there's bad tribes. MAGA's a bad tribe. But there are good tribes, right? The Democrats here, I think, are a good tribe. And how do you know the difference? The bad tribes hurt people, the good tribes don't, right? The bad tribes are founded on hatred. The good tribes are founded on love. But it's also a psychological fact that bad is stronger than good. Bad things can kill you, so you pay attention to them and you attend to them and you process them more and you remember them longer. So bad has a lot more power, and that's why the bad stuff happens. That's where I'm sitting right now. But so now I'm thinking, how do we, given that, and of course the bad tribes, the MAGA has poisoned the well so that the good can't even penetrate. We have a good message as Democrats, a message of love and support for everybody, which ought to win the day, but we can't penetrate. We've got to, so how do we do that? And so I've heard both of you commenting about how you have to confront them, and you have to don't take their bullshit, right? I agree with that. I do agree with that. But the problem is, if we fight fire with fire, everything burns down, right? Somebody's got to be the fireman to put stuff out. And how do we get our message through in this poisoned atmosphere? And I'm rambling a bit, but I want to hear your reaction to this, because you've been saying some of these things already just from right now. I keep going back to Martin Luther King and his point of radical love and radical acceptance. It says, hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can drive out hate. Which sounds great, and I believe that with my whole heart. But it hurts trying, and it's so hard to try, and it takes forever. How do we keep going? How do we show the love to such an extent without conceding they are lying to us? We know they're lying to us. We have to confront their lies in a loving way to show that we are helping them. We are trying to provide for them by enlightening them. That's such a hard thing to do. Sorry for the rant, but that's just. No. I'd love to hear your reaction to what I'm struggling with.
Oh, thank you. No, exactly. I know we're all going through the same. You don't help a perpetrator by being a perpetrator. Exactly. Yeah, that's why I was saying we need to be assertive. We're not going to be angry. We're not going to be mean. But we're going to be very assertive, right? With the shoulders back, that kind of attitude. It's got to come, bring it out. Everybody has their own relationship, and some don't. So I have a boyfriend, with a higher power. So for me, that's what I use. That's what works for me in my life. How would I want you to approach me? The same way they did when I was trying to get sober. They were approaching me with love. It hurt, though. It really did. It was like, these are mean people. And so something we need to sit around in a group and brainstorm, how do we still love when it's like, oh my God. And then they yell at you and call you the C word. They call me every name you could imagine. And I've had them in front of me. I have videos I could show you this. I mean, putting bull horns in my face. Okay, I have to remind myself that these are sick people. They are not bad people. They have been brainwashed. Because remember, they're coming after me, but they're really coming after you. There's a deep state. Who do I sound like? They've been programmed. They believe it, and I did too. It scared me to death. Presidents aren't going to lie to the extent that Trump has, right? I'm 72. All the presidents kind of, maybe they didn't say some things like Obama when they were going to go get, what was his name, Hussein? Some things have to be kept secret for the public safety, right? But they're not liars. We're not used to how to deal with this. I'm not. I always trusted the president. Even if I didn't like him, at least he had his integrity in him. So this guy is like, oh my God, you have to know how to deal with the narcissist. He is a dangerous narcissist. They have no emotions, no feelings, and they'll lie right to your face, man. It's all about him, and that's why he had to pardon all the J6ers. He could not let go of his narrative. If he had pardoned only half of them, what's the message? That the DOJ isn't really weaponized against everybody, so he was doing that out of his own self-centeredness to keep the narrative going. Oh my God, I know when I'm listening to them talk today, I'm going, I was thinking like, I believe this stuff. It's really very hard when you come out of it. Your whole brain is like messed up for a while. So it's a personal decision how you're going to approach or not approach people. But you don't, for me, I've had my moments like, I don't like to cuss, but man, I sure want to say don't you see what you're doing, the lies, the disinformation? You don't fact check. Science works, and they want to get rid of scientists. And it's so scary. But together, we have to do it together. We're not going to be able to do this in one person, a little bit here, a little bit there, but we have to be a collective with the same message, but a very strong one that is being given out by the whole party, I'm not going to be able to do it. I listen to you. I'm listening to the Democrats right now. I don't listen to me because I don't trust me. I'm too naive. I can trust another Trump again. I don't want to ever go there. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I guess what I wanted to say, it's like your children, back to your children. Okay, they're not going to change. They're not going to hear you, right? But you're doing the right thing for your children, right? You're going to stick with that. You stick with that with them. You make those laws, and you make sure that we stay with those laws and make them accountable for those laws. But it looks like can't even do that right now. The judges, I know I'm right in the same place all of you are. I don't know what to do, keep trusting in God if I understand Him, and stay loving, stay kind, stay informed, get with people that are organizing, be willing to wash the toilets first, do the dirty work, whatever it is you think is, sometimes it's the most important work, and getting back to the community. I'm trying to get in, but in Idaho, they won't let me come in. I'm kind of not welcome to help the Democrat Party right now. I'd love to. I'd like to just go out, pass things out. But I got approached by them, one of the Vote Babe. Are you familiar with Vote Babe? They're like the Gen Z. And they said, Pam, there's so much. They do not trust you at all. They don't want anything to do with you. And I said, okay, whatever. So what's the message? I told him, I said, that if Maga leaves, you want Maga to leave and just be a Republican, but they're watching what you're doing with me. And if they see how you're treating me, you think they want to leave? They're going to say, see how Democrats are? See, we've proven it. They're not nice, good people. And I've tried to point that out to the Democrats over in Boise, Idaho, but they're not listening to me. They just want to hold the resentment. So they put me in a box. You see that horrible scene, hitting officers, breaking windows. I get it. And J6er walks in and you go, you see, that's what you're seeing, right? But that's not what you're seeing. You're seeing the programming of Trump and so many other megas. They're not all criminals. They're not all bad people. They've just been programmed. We got to remember they're very sick mentally. Because I know I was raised with a narcissist, and it took me years to heal in therapy from living with a narcissist. And it's going to be a long time for Maga to heal too. But you just stand your ground with you know what's right, and the approach that fits for you to be true to yourself, right? Is that what Lincoln said? Anyway, I'm sorry, I get going.
Well, that's fine, Pam. We are getting close on time, so I think we're going to have like maybe 4 more questions, and then after that, Pam will stick around and you can have one-on-one and conversations. I do know of 1, 2, 3 people that have questions, so we will continue on. And you ready for a few more?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Hi, welcome, and I hope you keep healing. My question is, my oldest son drank the Kool-Aid. I have tried talking to him. It's like I might as well try talking to a wall. I don't know how to reach him. It's gotten to the point where I'm afraid that he's going to start really getting angry with me. If you have any suggestions, I'd greatly appreciate them. Thank you.
I know. It's not any different. When I worked as an alcohol and drug counselor, I had a lady call me and say, I'm taking him out of that hospital. I said, why? Because you're not doing the right job. I said, well, I got the right place to send him. I said, you know who works there? Jesus. Mary Teresa, Mother Teresa. I was joking with her. Because as a mother or a father, we want to fix our children. We can't. I have 2 sons that are addicts, actively using today. If I could fix or change anybody, it would be my 2 sons. And one just inherited a couple $1 million. He's going to be dead quick with that. It'll take him out. I know that. I'm just waiting for the phone call. It's a hard one. I got to check my motive. What's my motive? Am I trying to fix my kid? I can give him some information. I can tell him what I've learned. But it's up to them to decide if they're going to believe you or not. But love him unconditional. Whether he stays Maga or doesn't stay Maga. Just love him as he is. And know that right now he's been brainwashed. He's been listening to all this propaganda. You just keep putting a little, what do they say? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. But get him thirsty. Get him a little thirsty that he might listen to you.
Plant that seed. So, Jenny?
There's quite, in my mind, a wide range of people who drink the Kool-Aid. Some of them are, as you said, more mean, radical, unwilling to listen. And then others will say something that sounds very judgmental about another group of people. Can't see through David's head. Make some statement that I definitely don't agree with. But instead of saying, well, that's not true, I try to say something like, well, I think there's some other factors involved here, and kind of add to the discussion. And that seemed to help in 1 or 2 cases that I confronted. And I'm not talking about the extreme people, but somebody who has swallowed some of the Kool-Aid. And so I think we have to kind of sense what kind of person we're dealing with, and see if confrontation sometimes only makes them more adamant about their position. So there's no one right way, I think, to address how to respond. What do you think?
Stephen Hansen, I've got to really push him a little bit because he does have a lot of answers for you. I would highly recommend going on YouTube, listening to him. It's just not my personality. But we keep staying in contact, and he knows that. But it's very effective for a lot of people. So find what would work for you. you could hear what I do, and you say, oh yeah, maybe I'll try some of that. A little bit of Steve Hansen, you know, maybe this gentleman that was speaking right now, talk to him, he's got some great ideas, you know. I don't just pull from one person, I try to use a little bit of everything. And then everybody's different, you know. Like I said, there's extreme Maga, and then there's the Republican, and so it's not going to be the same for everybody. It's not going to happen that way, because everybody's different, you know. And look what they did. When did rhinos start coming out? When did that term happen? Do you remember? Me and my boyfriend were talking about this. Was it, how many years ago was that? Does anybody know the history? We were going to research it, but we didn't have the internet. That's a tactic. Now, because in the old days, we talked, we argued, and we said, okay, that's enough, let's go have coffee, right? But now when you do that with them, they label you, you're a rhino, and no, let's get rid of that, you know, bring this back. No, you're not a rhino. I'm not a rhino. I'm trying to work something out with this guy. He's a Republican, I'm a Democrat, and we're trying to come together, and we want to talk about how we can compromise, and I don't like your bill, okay, well, I'll change a little here, and, you know, that's what it's all about, and we want to bring that back. And there's no such thing of rhinos. Confront them with that. We're not going to use that anymore. I'm not going to use it. No, I want more rhinos around me. Anyway.
Yay, more rhinos. One more question.
So Pam, you're doing the hard work. We live in a hard state. We all have relatives that are what you're talking about. Do you have a team that helps you? I mean, is it just you? So I want to know just a little bit, where do you find your strength? I mean, obviously you've talked about 12 steps, you've talked about your recovery, which is something to applaud. And then the second thing, I was wondering if we can hear what Mike Pence might have said to you in the letter.
You could read it.
Thank you.
I just ordered the book, and I'm in the middle of it. Where do we go from here, Martin Luther King? You mentioned Martin Luther King. When I had to make that decision to go on CNN, and I thought, oh my God, I got stuff in my past. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. They would really destroy me. But I thought, wait, you've been sharing your story in AA for how long now? What are they going to, I'm an open book. And then I thought about Rosa Parks. I thought, oh my God, she just did the right thing. Not comparing me to her or anything. Don't even go there. And how much she had to think about. I mean, real death threat. I mean, she knew 100% she could easily be killed. And she did it anyway. And Martin Luther King the same way. And good trouble, you know. Smith, you just do it. I leave my fear in a closet. It's kind of like I don't wait for the fear to go. I just do it. I find that if I just do it, the fear goes away, you know. But if I try to get no fear and then do it, it doesn't work. So it's kind of like jumping in a pool. You know, you're going to be afraid, but once you jump in, there's nothing to be afraid of. And what are they going to do to me anyway? They want to kill me? Well, go ahead. I'm 72, you know. I'm not leaving. I'm not shutting up, because I want people to know that Trump is a dangerous cult leader. The J6ers have been lying about everything they've been telling you out there, every single thing. Not just by me, of course. Can be proven wrong. They're lying. They got due process. I've got a case that I researched. Jake Lane, he's the one with the bat that was hitting, and he's gotten millions of dollars, saying he never got due process. And I watched his due process. What happened, he went and got a new lawyer, and it starts everything all over again, and then he changed his court. He was doing it. And people are believing this about these J6 people, criminals that are lying about, and that's why my target's that. You know, to tell the truth about what they're lying about. And I don't know if it's helping, but anyway.
I just want to add a comment, and then maybe we'll take one or two more questions. Some of the statements I've heard from some of the audience members and talking about how difficult it is to have members of your family that are involved with MAGA. What is it that you would recommend that they would say to try to get them to think differently. And I think, I'm going to steal a little bit from Hillary Clinton here, I think it does take a village. I think in your case, it wasn't just one person telling you that what you believed was wrong. It was a avalanche of people, so to speak, that just kept telling you things and not calling you nasty names and screaming and yelling at you, but just going, Pam, have you thought about this? Have you researched that? Person A says. Person B says, have you thought about this? Have you researched that? And then they give you the facts. You talk about bringing your receipts and your facts now, and that's what you have to do. But I think it's difficult for one person by themselves to stand up against a cult. I'm old enough to remember hearing back in the 70s that there were these medical professionals, in quotations, so to speak, that would help you deprogram your child if your child was in a cult. Well, that's kind of what had to happen to you. You were in a cult and you had to be deprogrammed, and you had lots of people coming at you and throwing facts at you. So you currently, you have a team. I know that you have a team of people that follow you on X, and you have people that follow you in, well, the Wyoming Democratic Party, Minority and Allies Caucus. You have a team of people that interact with you, and it does, again, to steal from Hillary, does take a village. And as frustrating as it may be, you just got to keep doing it. You can't give up. And it's tough. So I believe Barb had a question. Does anybody else have a question after Barb? Okay. Anybody over here? You had one. Eric, you usually have something to ask. You don't have to. Anyway, Barb, have at it.
I'd love to hear from him.
Well, my question is, have you noticed that when Maga, they wear their Maga not like a badge of honor, they do that too, but it's more like a personality. They have taken MAGA on like it is part of their personality, and if you confront them, it's like personally attacking that personality of them. I know my mom does. My mom acts like that's her personality, and I don't remember my mom being like this. I mean, we used to talk about tons of things, like her son. But I still work on my mom. I still bring things up. I try to keep more neutral than, oh, the Democrat said this, the Democrat Party said this. I try to stay more neutral, where it's still facts, but it's neutral facts, you know, where she can go, oh, I didn't know that. Or, you know, or I confront my brother and I make him look things up, which helps. But it just seems like Maga is more like a hardcore personality of them, and they're associating MAGA with themselves, like their babies. MAGA Party is their babies, and they're Mama Bear, and they're going to ferociously attack it. Have you seen a lot of that too? I mean, throughout the parties?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I wish a Democrat had come to me and did an intervention, like you mentioned, and said, and I told him, well, they're saying you guys want to make this a communist country. Can I sit down and talk the difference between fascism and communists? There's a big difference. Oh, I didn't know that, you know, but yeah, tough. Of course, I'm fighting both sides sometimes, so it's really tough. Don't always have all the answers. But again, I'm staying with what's working for me and what I think how I can approach people the best I can. And right now, I can't. I mean, I'm just hated so much, both sides sometimes, that I can't really be effective, but you can, you know. I'm not as effective as I'd like to be. I'd like to get them in this meeting right now with all of you and a few more Republicans, and let's have a intervention, you know. Huh? Well, no, and I need to stop that. Mike gets on Michael, my boyfriend, gets mad at me. It just feels, you know, alcoholics, get a little bit about alcoholics. There's a room of 100 of you, and you all like me, but that one. And I'll focus on that one that hates me. You know? So I got to remember that. That's not true. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank all of you for coming today. I know on a Sunday afternoon it's difficult to take time out of your schedule, but I do appreciate it. The Albany County Democrats appreciate it. And I'd be remiss if I didn't remind you that the Democratic Party, the resistance, doesn't run on wishes and hopes and prayers. We do need money, so if you have the opportunity to make a small donation to the Democratic Party somewhere in the near future, that would be great. We do have some QR codes around the building that you can scan that'll help with that. Pam, thank you very much for coming. Oh, yes. You want to read it, or would you? Well, I need to put my glasses on because my old guy eyes don't see so well. But, so the big heading at the top says Mike Pence, June 2nd, 2025. Pamela, Hemphill, Idaho. Dear Pamela, I am writing to express my admiration for your decision to refuse a presidential pardon and accept responsibility for your actions on January 6th. January 6th was a tragic day, but I will always believe that I did my duty that day to see the peaceful transfer of power under the Constitution of the United States. Your honorable decision speaks volumes about your commitment to the rule of law, and I wanted to pass along my genuine respect. I am certain that your willingness to accept responsibility has inspired many Americans by your example of integrity and faith. May God bless you and your family with every blessing in the years ahead. Most sincerely, Mike Pence, 48th Vice President of the United States. Well deserved.
It showed up. It showed up, and I thought they were looking for donations, right? And so I thought, well, let me open it. And I read this, and I turned it to my boyfriend. I said, this is fake. You know, because I couldn't believe it. It was a little piece of me could breathe that maybe I'm doing the right thing. Maybe I could stop beating myself up for ever being there that day, and I could be forgiven. It's like something I've got to keep working on. It's just think about it. If you had been there on January 6th, how do you live with that? You know, you just have to. Just keep doing the right thing and find your way. You know, research Stephen Hansen and anybody you can. I had an interview with the most popular psychiatrist in Sweden. They sent me to D.C., and he said the same thing you said, that they're lonely. He's researching loneliness, and he's finding that Maga is lonely. So keep that compassion at the same time with the mama bear. Does that make sense? Those boundaries. You love your kids, but they're going to bed now. You know what I mean? That kind of attitude, because you love them.
That is true, and Representative Chestek said it best. We are the party of love, not the party of hate. So as difficult as it may be sometimes, we need to show our MAGA friends, our relatives especially, that we still do love them. We all have people like that in our families. And just keep living our life and be true to who we are and keep what we're doing. And you keep doing what you're doing. You served your time. Stop apologizing, but keep telling the truth about what MAGA is. And I believe what Mike Pence said is correct. You've probably inspired more people than you really realize, so don't sell yourself short, Pam. And keep up the good work. And I know it's tiring, but we need good people out there fighting the good fight and spreading the truth and the love, as Representative Chestek said. So thank you all again for coming. Give yourself a big round of applause. Give Pam a big round of applause.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.